Hi, this is the Business Guy. We're going to talk about the 10 crucial steps to take when a parent dies. I've been the CEO of Asset Protection Planners for 33 years. We have a team of attorneys on staff who set up trusts and estate plans. And today's video is a deeply personal one for me because my own mother passed away recently on Christmas Day. So I want to bring my message to you, blending my personal experience with the practical guidance of my legal background to help you through this tough time. So first I'm going to tell you a real quick story that you can relate to your experience. Then I'm going to go over the 10 most important things that you need to do when your parent dies. And if you appreciate this info, please click like and subscribe. Okay, now the quick story. Fortunately, being in the business, I had set up a living trust for my mother, and a living trust puts everything into one little neat package so you can handle their affairs. In other words, you can become the signing authority on their bank account so you can pay their bills for them when they lose their mental capacity and when they finally pass away. Now, she had been kicking and screaming about keeping her independence and not leaving her house and moving into a nursing home. But about 9 months ago, she had a heart attack followed by a series of strokes, so we moved her straight from the hospital to a care facility. And there she developed a severe case of dementia and lost her ability to speak. So we got a letter from a doctor that she didn't have the capacity to handle her financial affairs, which made me the trustee of her living trust. And without the trust, I would have had to go to a court to get permission from a judge to handle her estate. Getting an appointment with a judge could take 3 months, 6 months, or more, during which time her bills could go unpaid and someone could start draining her bank accounts for the amount due, plus attorney's fees and court costs. So setting up a living trust is essential. Unless your loved one has already passed, then you'll most likely need to go to court. If your loved one only has a will, you will also need to go to court and likely hire an attorney as well. So if your loved one hasn't passed yet, set up a trust as quickly as possible. You can visit assetprotectionplanners.com for more free information. So here are the 10 things you need to do. First, address immediate needs. Now, when my mother passed, the first thing my sister and I had to consider was her burial arrangements. It was a hard but necessary step. When a parent passes away, you'll face the task of arranging their burial or cremation. And did you know that in the US, the average cost of a funeral is around $7,000 to $12,000. That's no small change. So number 2, check for any pre-planned arrangements or insurance policies instead of it coming out of your own pocket or out of the inheritance. These prepaid arrangements can ease the pain of the expense during this already painful time. Number 3, and remember, you'll need multiple copies of the death certificate. Like the Swiss Army knife of the post-mortem bureaucracy, ordering death certificates is like a pop quiz of how well you knew your parents' personal details. Birth date? Check. Middle name? Social security number? Give me a minute. Now, we ordered the death certificates from the funeral home, and they in turn ordered them from the health department. And you'll need the death certificate to access things like IRAs, since IRAs, if you're named as a beneficiary, because you cannot put an IRA into a living trust. Number 4, notify the necessary authorities. And this includes government agencies and financial institutions. In fact, after my mother's passing, I quickly learned that prompt communication is the key to preventing complications and potential fraud where people try to steal money from the estate of the deceased once they see the obituaries. So act quickly. Calling these agencies can be as tricky as solving a puzzle with missing pieces. And brace yourself for the hold music. It's like they only have one track and it's always the most forgettable jazz. Number 5, financial considerations. Okay, now it's time for some number crunching. You need to file the tax returns for your parents. And if the word disclaimer starts floating around, remember, you've got 9 months to act. Speaking of time frames, did you know that the IRS can audit a return up to 3 years after it's filed? So keep those records safe. Also, consult a financial advisor before touching any accounts. Tax can be trickier than a Rubik's Cube. So consult a financial advisor and possibly a tax professional. In fact, after losing my mom, I realized how important it was to handle her financial matters correctly to avoid future complications. There was no federal estate tax, but there was going to be a huge estate tax due to the state where she lived. So I contacted an attorney in her state, and he suggested, as the trustee of her trust, that I gift from her estate to my sister and my wife and me the amount that was subject to the estate tax. So when she passed away, the remainder could be given estate tax free. But at the same time, we had to balance that to make sure that she had enough money to handle the nursing home costs if she lived longer than expected. So this brings us to number 7, talking to a financial advisor about the inheritance. Doing so is like going on a blind date. You hope for the best, but prepare for the awkwardness. I mean, you're talking about your parents dying, and you may not know the answers to all the questions. But make sure you do this, because this can save you a lot of money in taxes and a lot of headaches. Okay, this brings us to estate and personal items. Number 8, let's talk property. First, secure it. You don't want a Goldilocks and the Three Bears situation with someone else sleeping in the beds. Then inventory everything, and I mean everything, even that weird lamp that nobody liked. And when it's time to distribute personal items, keep it fair. Maybe avoid a Hunger Games scenario with the family silverware. Now, dividing personal items can feel like a family game show, but without the applause or cash prizes. Now, what we did is we had an auction company come in and remove everything from the house and auction it off. We thought we were going to add a few bucks to our mom's estate, but we ended up paying them more to remove her belongings than the stuff was worth, because we got everything out of her house so we could start fixing it up for sale. Number 9, real estate. Now, if there's real estate involved, contact a real estate agent. We asked for referrals from my mom's financial advisor and got a real gem of a real estate agent. In fact, she arranged for the auction company to empty her house. She told us what we needed to repair. She even found all of the repair people, the landscapers, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpet and floor people, the painters, everything. It took about 8 months to finally fix it up and find a buyer, and the house ended up closing 3 days after our mother died, which was another gift in itself. And that's because she bought the house 24 years ago, and it ended up going up a lot in value. In fact, so much so that she would have had to pay a capital gains tax. However, my sister and I inherited the house first, for only 3 days in our case, and then we sold it. The reason is you generally inherit real estate tax-free, so that 3-day difference avoided the capital gains tax my mother would have had to pay if she was still alive when the house closed. Okay, now number 10, communication and transparency. Transparency is the key, especially if you're the trustee or the executor of the estate. And this is a big deal if you want to keep the relationship strong with brothers and sisters. Share information openly with all beneficiaries and named heirs. We've seen families torn apart by trustees and executors plundering the castle. You need to turn off the selfish switch and realize that you are responsible, that everyone is taken care of fairly according to the documents. Money is not worth killing a relationship with a sibling. So being a trustee or executor is like being a detective and the reporter all in one. Track expenses, keep detailed records so you can show your fellow heirs all the documents so they don't suspect anything, and then communicate like you're auditioning for a role in a newsroom. Being transparent is like being the narrator of a story where everyone's eager to know the next chapter. And remember, as trustee, you're basically a librarian of the legal documents. Exciting, right? Maybe not, but super important. To wrap up, navigating life after losing a parent is a path filled with challenges, but also moments of reflection and growth. Sharing this journey after my mother's passing on Christmas has been difficult, but I hope it helps you. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and share. Your support means a lot during these times. And until next time, take care and stay strong. This is The Business Guy.